Has it happened to you? When reviewing your bank account at the end of the month, you can't remember. What did you spend your money on? You didn't make any big purchases. You didn't travel. You didn't give yourself any apparent luxury. But your account, it's almost empty. And you wonder, at what moment did I spend so much? What you're experiencing has a name. Ant-expenses. Small consumptions, almost invisible. That little by little they steal not only your money, but your tranquility, your freedom, and even your mental energy. Yes, and what if I told you this is not just a financial problem? And what if I told you that the real problem is philosophical? Today, from the perspective of Stoicism, let's analyze how and why. Avoid petty expenses. Not just to save money, but to live with greater virtue and mastery about oneself. Hello, welcome to Stoic Foundation. This is the space where Stoic philosophy, it becomes a guide, practice to face the challenges of everyday life. We are here to help you solve real problems, find inner peace and build mental strength. Inspired by the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius, Seneca and Epictetus in Stoic Foundation. Our purpose is simple. Accompany you on your journey towards a clearer life. Virtuoso and full, subscribe and start transforming your life. With the strength of Stoicism, what are ant-expenses? Ant-expenses. They are small daily expenses that separately, they seem harmless. It's that coffee you buy every day, the snack you take on impulse, the application that you pay for but no longer use, the delivery you order because you don't want to cook. None of these expenses are bad in themselves. The problem is in its frequency, its automatism and its accumulation. A 2 coffee a day seems insignificant, but it's $60 a month and more than $700 a year. Imagine that those $700 are repeated in other areas. How many automatic desires are costing you thousands? To the year, these expenses are like drops of water on a rock. Persistent, quiet ones, and destructive. If you don't keep an eye on them, what would a Stoic say about this? Stoic philosophy. She wasn't born to be discussed in classrooms, born to be lived, to be applied in everyday life. And there is nothing more mundane. How we use our money. Epictetus said, don't expect things to happen as you wish. Hope that things happen as they do, and you'll come out ahead. The uncontrollable desire. Even small things are the source of suffering. When we buy on impulse, it's because we want to control an emotion. Anxiety, boredom, stress, emptiness. Marco Aurelio noted in his meditations, ask yourself at every moment, is this necessary? This simple question, applied to your consumption habits, it can transform you. Because what's at stake isn't money, but your ability to choose clearly. The Stoic sage does not reject money, he uses it wisely. Because he knows what he spends without conscience. He loses it senselessly. Ant-expenses as character training. Every time you give up an unnecessary expense, you're doing much more than just saving. You're training your character. The Stoics valued frugality, not as a form of poverty, but as a way of power. Whoever can live with little is not poor, they are free. Zenon said, the richest person is not the one who has the most, but the one who needs the least. And why is this important? Because every time you leave, to be driven by the urge to consume, you're giving away power. Power over yourself, over your decisions. About your time, every trivial expense is a silent surrender to desire. And every time you avoid it, it's a philosophical victory. That's where Stoicism stops being just a theory, and it becomes a practice. Stoic tips to avoid petty expenses. Make an inventory of your desires. For a week, keep a diary of all your spending impulses. no matter how small they are. Not to judge you, but to get to know you. The wise person doesn't lie, they observe 2 and 1. In 2, apply the Stoic principle of inner control. Ask yourself if this depends on me or not. The majority of the expenses are not born out of a real need, but from an external reaction, advertising and social pressure. The fear of feeling bad. If it's not up to you, let it go. If it's up to you, choose with virtue. Practice financial fasting for 3 times. Dedicate 1 day a week to not spending money. Absolutely nothing. Neither a coffee, nor a nap, nor a sweet. Not as punishment, but as an exercise of dominance. Like the Stoics who fasted or slept on the ground. Not out of necessity, but through training. Enjoy the simple things. Learn to find pleasure in what you already have. The coffee prepared at home. A walk in the open air. A deep conversation. The more you need to be happy, the more of a slave you will be. The less you need, the freer you'll live. 1, the hidden cost of petty expenses. 2, it's not just about the money that's being lost, the ant expenses. They also have an emotional and mental cost. Every impulsive purchase reinforces a habit. Looking outside for what we should cultivate inside. 3, when we buy to feel less lonely. We are paying for a momentary relief, but not for a real solution. When we spend out of boredom, we are training the mind to fear silence and calm. When we pay for constant comfort, we weaken our ability to endure hardship. Marco Aurelio said, "Your mind will be like the color of your thoughts, regular, and we could add your finances. They will be like the color of your everyday decisions. Every little unconscious expense, it's just another brick in the construction of a life of dependence. But every expense avoided with virtue, it's a brick in the construction of your freedom." Wealth according to the Stoics. For the Stoics, wealth was not an end in itself, but a tool. Money is not bad, poverty is not good. What matters? It's how we relate to what we have. Seneca was writing, "A man who has little is not poor, but the one who desires more." True Stoic luxury is not in accumulating objects, but in not being a slave to them. Ask yourself, what would happen if I couldn't buy anything extra tomorrow for a month? How free I would feel, or how desperate I would be. Ant expenses show us in the small things how dependent we are on external things. And the Stoic exercise, it consists of gradually training ourselves until we reach to the point where we can say it with serenity. I have it, I enjoy it, but I don't need it. Don't underestimate the small things. Great chains are not forged in a single blow, but link by link. And the same thing happens with our internal chains, the desires of consumption, of anxiety. Every time you choose not to spend impulsively, you're saying, "No, I'm not a slave to my desires. I decide what comes in and out of my life." The Stoic doesn't seek to live without anything. He seeks to live without depending on anything, and that's it. It also includes the daily coffee that you don't need. Hello, if this video helped you to reflect, I invite you to subscribe and join this community. Looking to live with less, but to live better. Strength, wisdom, and virtue for you. See you next time.